Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, where pop culture gets blasted. And tonight is something different. I know whenever I say it's going to be something different from the usual crowdfunding, we're going to talk to somebody about UFOs. Tonight, that's not the case. I'm at a loss for where to begin to even start the interview with this person because he's a man of many talents. He's worked in the industries for a very long time, creating art for all different kinds of things. Please welcome Rusty Gilligan to the screen.
How you doing, RJ? It's nice to be here.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I was very interested when your name came across my desk as somebody I should be talking to. I'm like, oh, yeah, I can get him? Okay, sure. We can talk about all kinds of things.
Wow, somebody said something nice about me? Wow.
Yeah,
that's a shock.
You just go stop payment on the check now because they've already
stop payment. I actually have to write one if that's the case. Somebody said something nice about me. Wow, that's dinner. That's dinner at a movie worthy right there.
There you go. So you've been all over the place in creating art and in the entertainment industry. I didn't even catch on till we were talking in the pre-show that you've been in wrestling before.
Yeah, I did a good sprint in wrestling. I really enjoyed it. The funny thing about wrestling was I started out in grade school being put ahead a couple of grades, so I was always smaller than everybody else. And when it came time to go to high school, I couldn't take driver's ed or sex ed because I was too young by state law. So I actually wound up in the library 3 hours a day while all these classes were going on. So to speed up things, college hit, and I had grown a little bit. And college was kind of a mixed bag of, first of all, I went to an all-boys high school in California. And then when college hit, first of all, there's girls. Second of all, there was no uniforms and people of all sizes. So I wasn't used to that. I started getting into boxing, and boxing was fun. I really trimmed down, excuse me, and I had a really good time with it, but I wasn't very good. I kissed more canvas than girls at that time. And I had one match where I did better than normal, but I still got my butt handed to me. And a very huge guy came up to me and said, you look really, you didn't look really good in the ring. And I'm like, gee, thanks for the compliment, And we had a little bit of a conversation, and he said, I'm Dr. Jerry Graham, and I'd be interested in training you if you want to get back in the ring. And I said, I don't think boxing is my thing. And he was like, you might be interested in wrestling instead. And that perked me up a little bit because I was always into wrestling on TV when I was a kid. I used to watch the old NWA stuff and the WCCW stuff. So I went along with that. Dr. Jerry Graham was one of the tag team brothers of the Graham brothers, and most winningest tag team in wrestling in history. They probably, during their careers, won about 70 or 80 titles worldwide, everywhere from the United States to Canada and Mexico, UK, Africa. It was insane. And unfortunately, Jerry's brother had committed suicide years before. So he was working with his family. Superstar Billy Graham, who was the champion in the WWF in the years, um, that was his nephew. And from there, I got into it, and I really enjoyed it. The California, Nevada scene was great. I got to wrestle in Texas. I got to wrestle in Canada and Mexico. I did a couple of matches at Madison Square Garden. It was great, but I wound up tearing my shoulder, the rotator cuff, and that was the end for me. I couldn't. Some people have light injuries; they get surgery. And then they go back. It was a little heavier than that, and it was a problem, and I was done. And I could tell when I was done too, because if I couldn't even lift a teacup, that was the end.
Yeah.
Usually you get the operation, you stay in a sling for a couple of days, and then they start on therapy. I couldn't even do that. So, but I have the stunning record and reputation for being the only wrestler in history to be put out of the sport by a referee and not another wrestler. So I was I maintain that my record is solid. That referee really did me in.
Yes, absolutely. So there is this huge crossover between comic book fans and wrestling fans, but I've not run across an intersection. I've run across the intersection where wrestlers are comic book producers. They want to make a comic book, so They hire an artist and a writer to do it for them.
Right.
But I've not found anybody who was in the wrestling scene who was also physically capable of creating their own comics through art.
Well, fans, I think the big deal about wrestling and comic books, I think the big deal is these are costumed characters most of the time, and they have fancy names, and it's literally good versus evil, and they're fighting right in front of you. Yeah. So this is literally, the Silver Age comic plot come to life at this point. Wrestling has always dominated entertainment. It was the first sport on television. It was the first regular broadcast on television. And many entertainers were very into wrestling or started out as wrestlers or boxers. A lot of people don't know, Kirk Douglas, Bob Hope, Laurel and Hardy, they were all interested in wrestling. They wrestled not only in wrestling rings, but they wrestled in the Ringling Brothers Circus before it became Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey. That's actually where the term the squared circle came from, or the ring, because it was in wrestling in the center ring, right in the sawdust. And it was very popularized. A lot of circuses would hire these amazing actors to be a part of their circus. You'd see the elephants and you'd see the clowns, and then guess what? There's wrestling right in the center ring. That crossover appeal in entertainment was fantastic during our golden years of entertainment. The 1800s and the 1900s. So it's natural to see the progression. Comic books influenced wrestling greatly, because if you look at early wrestlers, they were just using their name. There was only a couple of alliances. There were no fancy costumes. They always wore, the bottoms of long johns or tights, if you want to call them that.
Right.
And then comic books influenced wrestling, and then wrestling started influencing comic books. So the two of them go very strongly hand in hand. It doesn't surprise me to see out of 10 wrestling fans that 9 of them are comic fans, and vice versa in a lot of ways.
So were you into the comic book scene when you started wrestling, or did that come
later? Yeah, I started out as a child actor in the 70s, And I started in comics and doing professional artwork in 1978. And I was wrestling in the mid 80s. So I had already been doing work. I had worked on a couple of UK comics. I worked on posters for conventions, Comics Buyer's Guide. I did ad artwork for. So I was already in the scene, I guess you could say, when I started wrestling. But, you know, I'm an entertainer. I don't really consider one industry different than the other. Um, in the past 6 months, I've done comic book work. I've done trading card work, sketch cards and base cards. I've published. I've done cartoon voices and voiceover work, and I've actually appeared in a live action film. So, you know, I'm an entertainer, and I really enjoy crossing over and you know, doing that. Aside from that, I've done wrestling, and I was on the radio as a DJ for a little while too.
Yeah, I was seeing here that you're on one of two of my wife's favorite shows.
Oh, really?
Because she's huge into the older television shows, you know, the golden age of television. So you were on Family Affair, and you were Andy Garvey on Little House on the Prairie.
Weird story about Little House, but Family Affair was great because there were a lot of kids on the set that day. Usually it was, you know, Brian Keith, Sebastian Cabot, and then there was the stars of the show. But in this case, it was the last episode of the series, and they had a whole play yard full of kids. The plot of the last show was the city was going to get rid of this plot of land that kids were using as a park. They were going to build a parking lot or a building, whatever. And what was it? Brian Keith's part, and I forget the names.
Uncle Bill.
Thank you. Uncle Bill helped them save the plot of land as a park. So that was a lot of fun. Little House was kind of an odd thing. I've always liked westerns, and huge John Wayne fan. I just love westerns, and it was a great pleasure to get hired for that, to work with Michael Landon. But unfortunately, once I got to the set, it was nothing but horror. The time that I was there, he wasn't a nice guy. The people on the set were not very nice. It was grueling work, and I was so glad to be off that and going on to something else. You know, they always tell you never meet your heroes. Now I know why.
Yeah, you're the second person I've talked to that came off of Little House. I've got somewhere in my archives. I don't even think it's on this set. I think it's on my website. I had an interview with Allison Arngrim.
She's fantastic. She is beautiful lady.
Yeah, she's fun. She's fun to talk to too, because she's like, you know, there's no filters on Allison when she talks.
Yeah, she had a fantastic part on that show. Most of the characters on that show were in like the family way, like it was the mom, the dad, and the children, and it was a kind of a neo-Western. But she actually got to play, in my opinion, one of the standout parts, because, you know, she was always sticking her tongue out. She was always getting her pigtails pulled or her petticoats dirty or whatever. She got to be the royal jerk of the show, and that gritty attitude she had as a, you know, bratty girl worked perfect for that time period that they were pushing, you know, this neo-Western time period. I'm telling you, she should have won a giant awards for being on that show. She was definitely one of the reasons why I would watch that show. She was a holdout. She was great. It's just like there were a couple of characters like that on the Waltons, which was a similar show. You know, the family attitude is great, and people tuned in because it was, you know, nice, and it was quaint, and it was family, and it was family entertainment. Everybody could sit and watch it without a fear of a problem coming up or whatever. And then, you know, she would just say these lines and be bitchy during the show, but you didn't expect it. But yeah, Allison is a great lady. I think the last time I saw her was, maybe more than 10, 15 years ago at a celebrity show in LA. So,
Well, somewhere along the way, you impressed the film producers with your art to do production art. What is production art? I mean,
well, it's a combination of things. When you do some art for a production, you're basically giving them support. Like you're the legs of the table, in other words. So if you have to draw something for the costume department, you have to do a logo, you have to do a production piece, like let's say, for example, like where you're sitting right now, you have that wall hanging behind you. If that was part of the plot, like let's say Smallville, where they have like the Smallville crows,
yeah.
or whatever, that would be something that I would do, and then it would become a prop and it would be on there. So a lot of times, if you watch films and they have like specific needs, like they need to mention Smallville, or they need to show a superhero that's in that genre that they're pushing, like the Arrowverse or whatever, or if they want to create a character like a flying dog with a cape, something along those lines. That's production art as well. I would mostly do likenesses, kind of like the baseball cards I showed you before, and I would do pieces that were necessary for the production. And then a lot of times I would do storyboards, and I would do pieces that like the DVD case art, things like that. I actually just did one for a film. I wish I could mention the name of it, but it's still in production. But I just did one for a film that's going to be used for the DVD case. And the artwork that I did for the DVD case is also going to be hanging on the wall as a prop for the live production as well. So they're taking that original art and they're using it in their Kickstarter campaign, and telling people, here's like a film used piece of artwork that'll accompany the disc when you order it. So that's what production art is. Like I've done wardrobe art. People will take like for example, when I worked on Spider-Man 2, I did some wardrobe art and did some production art with the person that I was working with. My partner at the time was Tim Stiles on that movie. And between the two of us, we did a ton of poses, pictures of the characters so that they could color them. Oh, they're going to wear a blue shirt. No, they're going to wear a green shirt. Okay, here's the pattern we want, on and on and on. So, it's just a roundabout way of saying you're a utility artist,
Okay, because I saw you did it on like the Avengers, and I'm like, well, all the logos have already pretty much been designed for that, and I didn't know production artist was like the people who make the movie poster, or if
it's a broad spectrum. It has to be, because when people think that a film is a script, hire the actors, shoot. They don't realize that it's a living, breathing thing. Every day, somebody is doing something in one location. Someone's in the office handling something else. People are somewhere else on a second unit filming. Somebody might be flying in a helicopter getting a city view. Somebody might be doing voiceovers, or redoing audio, dubbing audio, that because they were outside and a plane flew by or a dog barked. There's always something going on. And there's always a need for artwork, which is incredible. Sometimes it's merchandising too. I worked on a film where they didn't use one photo in their merchandising. All they used was art. And the appeal was great for the comic book audience and for the action audience. Art, you take a picture of, let's say, a superhero, and you have the star wearing the costume, and you put it on a mug or a t-shirt or whatever, and you put it next to the comic artist, drawing the character flying or punching or whatever. The appeal here is the star, okay, plain and
Right.
simple. But like, let's say Superman. Here's the appeal. Superman is there. It's the character, and he's in like a typical pose, or he's flying, whatever. That's great from the film standard. But the merchandising support, they would rather have the character in a comic book art fashion. They want it to be bold. It's colorful. Red, green, blue plays off the eye really well. It's psychological in a lot of ways. Most of the film merchandising that you see these days will be photo, and that's the reason why the merchandising isn't catching as it used to in the 70s and 80s. When Christopher Reeve did the Superman film, the legendary Superman film, they found that the Superman art sold 8 times to 10 times better than the actual photos that they used in their advertising and in their merchandise. Only the one pose where Superman has got his arm cocked and he's flying right at you, and it's a photo of Christopher Reeve that they cut away. That was the only piece that actually outdid any of the art. Other than that, everything that they did, cups, T-shirts, underoos, action figures, everything was based on comic art.
And that was art that was made to sort of look like Christopher Reeve, or was that the basic Jose Luis Garcia Lopez Superman style?
Yeah, I think it was Jose's work, because I got to tell you, Christopher Reeve had that Superman look. He Brandon Routh had it as well. And I liked that movie that he did. It was a little corny, but I liked that movie. And Tyler, was it Hoechlin, the one that plays the new Superman?
Yeah.
I think that he kind of fits in that mold. But they're going for more of a One Tree Hill, more of a modern take. But that's what CW does. Look what they did with Archie and Riverdale.
Oh my God.
And Supernatural is the same way. If Supernatural appeared on any other network, it never would have lasted past 3 seasons. But CW just has this way of injecting their style into whatever production they're doing, and they find audiences where I don't think that there are any. I mean, they're trendsetters, but these actors, mostly Christopher Reeve, literally embodied Superman. So I don't think that drawing him was any different than drawing the character. It wasn't until John Byrne came along to do his run on Superman that Superman actually was, more defined. But because basically Christopher Reeve was the Silver Age Superman.
Yeah.
In every sense of the word, acting and persona. I don't want to spoiler anyone, but the latest episode of Superman and Lois has a great history of that universe's character, and it's actually a great episode. Until I saw that episode, I liked the show. Now I really like the show. It's very funny, and it puts to shame some of the other ones. So
yeah. Oh yeah, they're good for 3 seasons is what I find. After that, they just kind of they've reached the maximum potential of the character, and now it's like, well, what do we do now? Well, we reach the maximum potential of everybody else in the show and put the character on the side.
Yeah, I've heard that. This is just scuttlebutt, but I've heard that Flash is only going to go on for another season, and Superman and Lois, I think, is going to take charge of the CW shows, because they're having a lot of trouble with Supergirl. They're having a lot of trouble with Batwoman, which is obvious. And I don't think Black Lightning is doing as good as what they thought. No. So, and they're having a lot of problems with some of the other ideas that they had. So it looks like Superman and Lois and Stargirl are going to be the lead shows, which is
Stargirl
good.
Will be great.
Yes, I'm a big Justice Society fan. So whatever decisions they make, I like continuity and I like sticking to canon and original source material, but I kind of look at these shows as what ifs or elseworlds, and it's okay because think about it. If you actually duplicated a comic in a film, people would already know what's going on.
Sure.
So it's okay to mess with it. The only mistake I can't stand the DC films. To me, they made a big mistake with what they were doing. I think the CW shows are so much better. I'm not a fan of any of the DC films. And this will probably get me a lot of hell, but Superman, was it Batman versus Superman, was probably the worst film I've ever seen.
It's very divisive.
It's strange. Like I just, out of nowhere, Martha, and then they lost me. They just completely lost me. I heard that and I thought to myself, okay, Martha Washington would have been great in this film too. We're done.
Their moms are both named the same thing, and well, I think there was a story there that got chopped up because apparently, Batman's mind was supposed to be getting messed with in dreams of some sort, and Luthor was pulling strings, and that sort of like triggered something.
I'm not very happy with the Luthor that they picked. I get the idea of why they did it. They were trying to do the Earth 3, Silver Age, more modern age, whatever you want to call it. They were trying to do the Earth 3 version of Lex Luthor, and some of the scuttlebutt behind the scenes that never got done was they were going to introduce that the Lex Luthor of that Earth was in prison or tied up somewhere, and it was going to be somebody like a Gene Hackman. And what wound up happening was this one came from another universe and crossed over, which was part of that whole annual where they introduced the Superwoman. And then they decided to trash it because he did such a great job in some other film. I think it was the Facebook film or whatever. And they kept it. But the funny thing is, I just don't think he's the right actor for the part. I don't think that Momoa is a great Aquaman. He was a terrible Conan. And I'm not really convinced about a lot of them, to tell you the truth. But you know what? That's my opinion. And I tell people my opinion doesn't mean one bean in a hill of beans. So, you have to experience it yourself. And I never influence anybody. They're great actors and they're doing a hard job because they have more than just the fans to entertain. And these fans are very discerning in their tastes. They're very comic cultured. Yeah. So one misstep and they'll just blow it up.
That's why I think Stargirl's the best.
Yeah, it is.
Stargirl's costumes are great, and the first 5 minutes of the first episode of Superman and Lois, when he's in that original Max Fleischer costume, I'm like,
you have to see the latest episode. You have to see the latest episode, or you're not. Are you going to change your mind? As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about watching it again because it was so good. It was not a typical Superman and Lois. This one had, I don't want to give it away because, I understand with streaming, people can watch it a week later. So, and I'm one of those kind of people. I watch it like days later, but today I watched it. I think it was on yesterday, and I don't want to blow it for people, but this was a superior episode. This episode beat, in my opinion, the best episode of all of their shows. Honestly. The only episode that I think was just a little bit better was when the JSA first appeared on DC Legends, the actual World War II JSA. They would throw together characters. It was a setup for the Crisis thing. But I think that one was just a slight bit better because there was history and the older fans could identify. This one, I think, is right along with that. It kind of reminds me of the JSA two-parter that they did in Smallville. It went right along with that. It really did. Another great show where there was a jerk of an actor who stole the show because that Lex Luthor was fantastic.
Yeah, Michael Rosenbaum was very good. Oh, my
God, he was great. And he was great as the Flash in the JLA cartoon as well.
Yep. He's still doing a lot of voice acting work in superhero genre stuff. But the thing I think I like about Stargirl,
I see all the chat here, but I can't interact with anybody, so I don't know who's who. But hello, everybody. I'm sorry I'm ignoring you.
well, we have Heroinberg here, who is our wrench, and he's taking care of putting all the links out there. Mr. Yanafui is the master of memes. Jazz Crab's out there. Mike Walters from the Mike Stand Show is with us.
That's wonderful.
So they're all chatting amongst themselves. I think the thing I like about Stargirl is that we've seen the JSA in Smallville, we've seen the JSA in Legends.
Yeah,
Stargirl's the first one. It's like saying, okay, let's actually take the step and bring in the big guns. You've got a Green Lantern.
I really think that they had to. I'm going to say this. It's not a popular opinion because everything lately is agenda. Everything lately is let's push Pride Month. Let's push politics. Let's push something else and something else and something else. There's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. But what they're not pushing is superhero. And I see that a lot. What I think that they did was first of all, Jeff Johns' work is great. I don't care what anybody says. He did a superior maximum run on the Stargirl, Stars and Stripes, whatever series. And Stripesy was headlined, and I love that actor. I just love him. I think he's great in that part. And they picked great kids to play the characters, too. So that's great. I know that they fiddle around with canon and continuity, but, again, it's Elseworlds. That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
I think DC brought some guys in and started looking online because let me tell you something. Every other post I see in the comic book groups is, guess what I got slabbed? Action Comics. Guess what I got slabbed? Justice Society. Here's a whole Justice Society group. Here's a whole group towards public domain characters, Daredevil and blah, 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 on and on and on. I think it's starting to catch on. I really feel like Marvel, the only missteps that they made was I think that they should have had the Invaders in the original Captain America movie, or at least some semblance of them. I know that Human Torch made a cameo, but they should have had some semblance of some of the other heroes. And I think that Fantastic Four should have been the first film and would have been a slow introduction and a build-up for the rest of the films.
Yeah, they couldn't get the rights, I think.
Yeah, but you know what? The money that was produced from these films that they were doing and the direction that they knew they were going into, where there's a will, there's a way. I really feel like they could have thrown. I mean, all they're going to lose is a couple of extra bucks, but look what they gained in the end. Now everything's back. So, or at least most of it anyway. I feel like splintering your stable across all these different licenses and channels. You got Spider-Man going with Sony, and you got something else going with Hulu, and you got something else going with Netflix, and they all end and everything. And then it's canon. No, it's not part of canon anymore. The new Loki show, they're saying, oh, is it erasing the, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Peggy Carter and all this other stuff because of the TVA, the Time Authority. There's all these videos out where people are theorizing that what they're doing is knocking them out. And I just feel like, they should have just found a way to institute all of this. All those Netflix superhero shows, Marvel should have been reveling in. They should have brought them all back and strengthened them the way the CW shows are.
Yeah, that would have been nice. I don't know if I'm all that excited about the next wave of Marvel movies. I think they're doing the same thing with Doctor Strange that they did with Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. And that's making a movie for a character they don't have anymore.
I'm not a fan of the Captain Marvel film. I actually liked the original Marvel. I didn't care for, Ms. Marvel being, brought up to Captain Marvel. And I don't like her. Her acting was dry. It was a terrible script. I also didn't like all the politics that she did offline, which kind of tainted it for me a little bit. Now my wife liked it, and a couple of the people I work with liked it, which is their taste, and that's cool. It just wasn't my, it wasn't my favorite at by a long shot. And I don't like the way that they're introducing Fantastic Four. I've heard rumors about the X-Men and the mutants. Whatever. And now they're doing this instead of Captain Marvel 2, they're doing Marvels, I guess. Where they're going to bring in those. The late, I don't know the actress's name, the lady that played Photon that was in the WandaVision series.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember either.
She's beautiful. She's phenomenal. She's got a good history of the parts that she's played. My idea would have been have the original Marvel come in and then introduce Ms. Marvel at the end, and then have her take over for him. And then the third one could have been, the Death of Captain Marvel, Jim Starlin graphic novel, and she could have continued. I think that would have been great. They would have introduced 2 or 3 new heroes with all of that, and it would have slid in great. Then they could have done something with the Illuminati. But
they've chewed up all their good stuff, and they've retired all their big heroes. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, like I tell a lot of people, if you're a fan, keep watching IMDb, because you'd be surprised some of the stuff that's coming up that they're leaking accidentally without even knowing it. Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are both signed up to do future projects. So, because they list them on IMDb. So, you'll see it. That was it. Thank you. She's a fantastic actress, she is.
Well, we've been talking a lot about comic books, and I'm trying to let you talk the most because my voice is coming out your speaker and then back. So we've got an echo going on.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Doesn't happen when you talk, so I let you talk.
You shouldn't want to hear me once, but God help you, you're hearing me twice. Holy
No, I'm hearing
crap.
you twice.
Oh, you're hearing you twice, so that I can deal with. Anybody that hears me once doesn't want to hear me again. I would feel so bad if someone heard me twice.
Well, you're working on a sort of a dual project here. You've got a movie with a card set that's attached to it.
Yeah, this is first of all, I used to own a studio years ago called Shooting Star Enterprises in California. And we closed that, and I opened up Main Publishing. We did trading card sets. We did a magazine. We did comic books, on and on and on. And I got tired of the publishing life. It got to be a drag. People look at publishers and they're like constantly submitting. When you're a one-man band, you can't really hire people. So my studio name is Rusty Ink, INK, because I'm an inker, which is my corny dad humor. And, the thing is that we've been publishing cards and we've had good success. We did a set based on The Wizard of Oz. We did a set based on pulp magazine covers. My comic book, which is Mac in Trouble, which the film is coming out in the next couple of years. They're working on it now. We did a set based on that and did really good. So this one is called The Earth Trembles. It's basically dinosaurs, which obviously everybody loves dinosaurs.
Sure.
And the dinosaur way, the niche that we've carved out for this dinosaur set is these are displays and museum exhibits from all over the world. So the photo, a part of the card set, you'll see like a T-Rex from China, or you'll see, a velociraptor in Russia. And some of the cards are awesome because these are displays that we're not talking about like skeletons. We're talking about actual displays. It looks like the dinosaur is right in the damn room with you. And there's even pictures. See, there you go, card previews. These are what the cards actually look like.
Yeah, those are awesome. So these are what, photos of statues?
they're photos of statues and displays. There are some museums and some exhibits around the world where these actually move. They move and they talk and they roar and on and on and on. As a matter of fact, there's a museum. I don't have my notes in front of me, so I apologize. But there's a museum in somewhere in the United States where, let's say, you see that T Rex and it roars and it moves and on and on and on. And then right in the middle, there's a voice actor that just starts coming right out of its mouth saying, this is what a T Rex does, and blah, 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 trivia and fact. And, we all grew up with a television mentality. First it was kids listening to Lone Ranger and the Shadow on the radio. Then it was reading the funnies. Then it became hip for Garfield the Sunday funnies, and then the Saturday morning cartoons, Cartoon Network, things like that. And then kids have now started going back into the live thing. There's more kids getting into museums, and there's more kids getting into like live shows. I see somebody said nobody cares. I care. Yeah. I love dinosaurs, and you don't have to.
Everybody loves dinosaurs. Calvin and Hobbes, I think, spoke best to the love of dinosaurs that everybody had.
The funny thing about the funny thing about dinosaurs is it's just like the way wrestling and comics are tied together. These are larger; they're larger than life. Kids were always into things like dragons, Dungeons and Dragons, watching magic and Harry Potter, things like that. Magic type shows. So when you see something like a dinosaur, it's very impressive. Again, typical statement, larger than life. It's fun and it's adventure. And we picked this. This has actually been involved, very involved for us. It's been in the design stages for about 2 years now. We actually did another trading card set during that time because we didn't want to wait. So, but this set, without going into a big spiel about it, pardon me, I'm sitting right in front of the fan. Wow, I'm going to die here.
We'll carry it live.
Yeah, there you go. We could cut that part out, right? This set has the base cards. It went past a certain goal, and now we're adding 3 cards to the set. And then there's another goal. We're going to be adding more because we like to make our sets very organic and have the fans direct us. Right there on the screen, you can see the relic cards.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about here. This is cool.
100 cards will actually have a megalodon tooth or a fossil, and then the rest of the cards have dinosaur and fossil stamps from all over the world. As a matter of fact, there's stamps from the United States, Canada, Mexico, all over the UK, Russia. My favorite one is a card from Romania, and most of them, if not all of them, are canceled by their post offices. So these are used stamps on these cards. And some stamps will have 2 fossils or 2 stamps or 1 of each. So it's a mixed bag. But the interesting thing about this set is we have sketch cards, which a lot of trading card sets do now, especially the ones that go to like campaigns. What we do here is the relic cards and the sketch cards are numbered as part of the set. So in other words, instead of getting the relic card as an insert card or getting the sketch card as an insert card, every set comes with, let's say, a number 5, which is the relic card, or a number 8, which is the sketch card. And you can't just get the set and then say, well, I'm going to, get rid of the sketch card or whatever. This makes your set unique. So you might be the one to get a megalodon tooth and maybe the Jay Moore's art card, as a sketch card, or you might be the one to get 2 stamps on one card and the Bianca Thompson card, or the Sir Lester Griffin card, or the Dan Gorman card. And some sets will come with 2 sketch cards as well as a bonus. So there's a lot going on with this set.
You have a lot of sketch cards out here now. Of course, it's going to be rare in the set to be like 1 or 2, but these are not printed. These are actual. Somebody took a pencil, colored pencils, and whatever, and drew
right.
on the card.
These are all 100% original art. As a matter of fact, I was just working on one. I'm doing a card, and see, the interesting thing about these cards is they're not like regular sketch cards. This is, I love it. The Beaver said these cards bite. They do, because look at this. These cards actually are foldovers, and I'm working on the artwork. Let me see, turn away from the light here. Working on artwork. Those are Jay Moore's pencils, and I'm going to be doing the inks and the coloring when these come out. So yes, Beaver, these cards do bite.
I'm just still stuck on the fact that they got a tooth in them. I'm like, wouldn't you be able to tell by feeling the pack that, hey, there's a tooth in this one, because it'd be like a lump of some kind?
Well, first of all, people are getting complete sets, and every one of them is getting a relic, and everyone gets a sketch card, 1 minimum. So whether they know or not that they're getting, let's say, the tooth versus the stamp, or a mixture of both, is not really the issue, because this isn't like Topps or Upper Deck where thousands of packs are out there and you're building a set. You're actually getting the whole set, which is, this makes it a collector set. But we wrap them up pretty good so that they don't get destroyed in the mail. Packaging has always been a good priority for us with our sets. We did special sets for The Wizard of Oz, where they got a relic. People were getting pieces of original books from the turn of the century, page swatches. They were getting coins. So we've done this relic thing to death, and we really love it.
So I'm looking at some of the stretch goals here, or the campaign rewards. You've got the small foil stick. Is that an add-on?
It's actually, it is an add-on. People can get it. We have a lot of really fun collectors. People like the stickers. So we've actually got some multiple different stickers in the set. There's an actual postcard that's autographed by the artist and mailed directly to the person's home. There's laser cut wooden cards, which is the first time we've seen that in the hobby, and it's limited to 10. We have rare vintage cards that is, that's not part of the set. These are rare singles that are going out as well. And one of our future goals is to keep adding more and more cards. So this just like the Oz set. Wizard of Oz started out with 9 cards and built its way up to a 36 card set.
Now, it also seems to be that this is tying into a short film of the same name.
Yeah, this film here, it's a couple of minutes long. Aside from my voice being in there, there's other actors like Jay Moores, Dina Rennan, Chris Olsen. It was produced by a UK studio under the producer Michael Doss with Bombitos Network, who's also doing the Mac and Trouble movie based on my comic. And it's actually very cute. It describes the set much better than I ever could.
So is that the film that's attached to the
yes.
campaign?
Yeah,
well,
that's it.
I happen to have that because StreamYard kind of sucks when it comes to playing sound through sharing. So I will admit to having pirated it and uploading it here for preview. So let's give it a play, and we will watch it all the way through.
Awesome.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new dinosaur set, The Earth Trembles. Let me try that again. The Earth Trembles. Ooh, scary. Our set is based on dinosaur figures from around the world.
Ook, everyone loves dinosaurs.
Well, where'd you come from? Anyway, the cards display some beautiful photos that center on exhibits from national museums to outdoor dino parks. Also part of the set are these great relic cards with actual megalodon teeth and dinosaur stamps from around the world.
Around? Well, gee, I thought the world was flat. Well, there's some great add-ons as well. Is it my turn to talk?
Hiya, Terry. I was just about to tell these cavemen about some of the great features in the set. Why don't you take over for me while I go eat someone? I mean, something.
Aside from the base cards, we have some great stuff, oh boy! There's some beautiful sketch cards that fold over to look like a dinosaur roaring. Watch this! Wow! Where did that hand come from? The sketch artists come from around the world and are among the best in the hobby.
Don't forget about the rewards.
Who was that guy? Well, I was just getting to the rewards, like this really neat hollow foil sticker.
And don't forget, there's some laser cut wooden cards featuring some cool art.
Hey, I was getting to that.
I didn't want you to forget, just like the limited edition signed playing cards.
I know.
And the beautiful sketch covers.
Come on, you guys. You're stealing my lines.
Then there's the signed postcards, the silly dinosaur stickers, dinosaur charms.
And the vintage dinosaur attack cards. Yay!
Who is that guy?
Hello, everyone. This is Rusty at Rusty Inc. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the campaign. What my dinosaur friends didn't tell you about was the digital cards that we're focusing on. It's kind of a brand new thing. The digital cards are representing the artists in the campaign, and you'll also see some cards that aren't included in the base set. So we thank you for contributing, and we hope to see more of you in the future.
All right. So I was looking at the sets.
Uh-huh.
I was trying to figure out where the set was. I mean, in the tier share, because we got this. We got all kinds of stuff. The postcard, the signed promo cards, and I think the very first time we actually get to the set level is this one here. One dinosaur set plus sketch card.
Right. And then it goes down a little further. There's 3, and then there's 5. And then we have a hidden a reward or hidden contribution for dealers to offer them special prices as well, because obviously the dealer needs to make money too. Sure. And the resellers, so we try to offer them some special stuff. To answer a little bit, I saw that question. I wanted to use Dippy, but the problem is I wanted the card set to reflect the dinosaurs that were more realistic. Dippy is a skeletal construct. There will be a couple of skeletal pictures for the back of the cards and rare things along those lines, including the digital cards, which we didn't even touch on. But these are actual displays as if these were photos of real dinosaurs, or or what they would actually look like. The problem is everybody sees the skeletal stuff all the time. So this is something, we wanted to make these look a little bit more interesting. Consider them like dinosaur rookie cards. But
It's like a reconstruction over a framework.
yeah, basically. The funny thing about it is they something that never really gets touched on is we're taking one sketch card from each artist, because artists have done, depending on the contract, anywhere from 3 cards to 50 cards each, depending on what they signed up for. And we're taking 1 card of each, and we're making digital cards. So what the when the person gets to download the cards, they're actually getting samples of the digital art, and it represents the artists. If you go up at the top of the page and go to where the update section is, you can see the digital cards, because we post them all over social media.
There we go.
He's wearing a scarf. I guess he'd be a little underdressed then.
So if somebody orders a set of the cards, exactly what do they get in the basic package? I mean, how many cards make up the set?
Well, like I said, this is a very organic set. It started out as 9 cards. Right now it's 12 because one goal brought up 3 new cards. As it keeps growing, it could be larger. Let's say it hits the second goal and it goes to 15 cards. If that's where it lays, then they get 15 cards. One of the cards is the relic card. Another card is the sketch card. So those are part of the set. Like I said, they're not inserts or add-ons. They're actually part of it. Now, the first 50 contributors get a special signed promo card, a vintage promo card. Everyone also gets a Topps Dinosaurs attack card from the 80s set. And they'll also be getting stickers. Some people will get multiple sketch cards or multiple relic cards as a gift. And there will be random sets where people will get sketches or instant win cards as well.
So you mentioned that there's a retailer tier, a secret retailer tier. If you're a retailer, then you get the link to come in and find it, which
Right.
tells me there's packaging involved here. Are they going to come in like something where a wrapping where if you got to open it to get to the cards, or?
Yeah, each one of the sets that goes to the fans is wrapped in a trading card plastic, and there's extra packaging because it's obviously going to a collector. The ones that are going to the retailers will go in different packaging with a label so that they can display it in their display cases or on their sites, whatever. It also comes with some extra flyer information. There's a poster involved. There's some extra artwork that they can keep or that they can sell. I was just talking to a friend of mine who's doing artwork for the set, as well as the fact that he publishes his own comic. And I explained to him, let's say a retailer comes along or a reseller and they want to get 10 sets. They'll actually be getting enough side material that if they were to put the side material up on eBay and sell it for a basic price, it would literally be like we were paying them to take the cards. Because sketch cards can go anywhere from $35 a piece. I've seen some of them go up to, hundreds. Yeah. So imagine getting, 3 extra sketch cards. They go online and they go for about $50 a piece. You're not paying $150 for the 10 sets. So just unloading those is going to give you a big profit before you even put a price tag on a set for a fan. And we've lowered the cost of the wholesale to an area to where the dealers actually make more money through the campaign than they would if they went to Diamond or a distributor.
So these will be available through Diamond, though, at some point?
No, I hate to say it, but we've actually got a bad taste in our mouth when it comes to Diamond. I was
you
in
and
the
1,000
second.
Other people.
Yeah, I was actually in the second ever catalog that Diamond came out with. We were doing cards and comics, and we were doing art prints. That was a huge deal back in the late 80s, the early 90s, was doing the art print sets in the printed envelopes and on and on and on. And we did really well with them. But the thing is, their percentages are too high. And I think what they're doing is they've contributed to the decline in the industry. A number of shops have gone out of business because of Diamond's strict retailer policies, reseller policies. And I like to deal directly with the fans. I've actually had a good rapport with the collectors and the fans. So we like going direct better. Now, obviously, a reseller comes along or a dealer. If they're interested, we make it so that it's affordable to them and they can make something off of it. So it basically becomes an investment back into the industry for us as well. For example, we almost sold out of our Wizard of Oz set a couple of years ago. And we had a number of resellers come to us looking for sets. The packaging was basically, it was a brown box with the sticker label. They were tied with straw and they were filled with straw on the inside, like as if they were, part of the scarecrow.
Sure.
And they came with extra items as an incentive for the reseller, the retailer. And we did extremely well. We got a lot of people asking for more and more and more, to the point where I don't even think I have a set myself anymore.
So speaking
these
of
are very
cards,
these are very limited, by the way. So,
well, speaking of cards, you were showing me online some artwork that you're doing right now for Topps, for some baseball cards.
Yeah, I'm working on a set for Topps. I've done a number of baseball sets for them. I really enjoy that. And I've done right now, if I look at my calendar here, I'm probably working on 6 different or maybe 7 different sets over the next couple of months from different publishers. So I've been doing cards for a long time. I really enjoy it. Trading cards is something that I took a personal interest in. I always liked, baseball cards, football cards, but the non-sports cards really stuck out to me. I seriously enjoyed, the Marvel cards from Comic Images, and FPG used to do all of the fancy art sets. Hell, even the Betty Page and the adult sets were fun too.
I can attribute to that.
I really enjoyed working with those companies. Years ago, I worked with Clubhouse Diamonds. I worked with Hot Shots. I worked with Mother Productions, Friedlander. I worked on the Penthouse and Playboy sets. I really enjoyed those. So it's a journeyman thing. I really enjoy trading cards. Now publishing has come our way again, because for years I didn't do any publishing of cards, and we've done really well with it. It's a lot of fun. I very much enjoy it. It's a tremendous extension of doing our comic work. So
are trading cards really the thing that they're labeled as now, though? Because when I see trading cards being sold today on the dinosaur set one here included, when the earth trembles, it's the complete set. It's right there. There's no chase. There's no trading with your friends to complete sets like it used to be in the 90s and beforehand.
In all honesty, the way cards are set up these days, these are collector cards, because they're in sets and they're going like that. Trading card just became the generic term, just like saying, give me a Kleenex, give me a Scott towel, that kind of thing. Sketch cards are really art cards, because when I first started doing sketch cards, we would just do like a small ink quickie on a trading card. That was a sketch. That really is the definition of a sketch. Sketch card is just the name. So we're at this point where they're art cards now, or fine art cards, if you want to call it that. They've been called ACEO for many years. I forgot what that was. Was an art card. I forgot, but they've been called that for many years, but that's usually, cards that aren't, personal sketch cards, like somebody drawing a bird or somebody drawing a dog or, a landscape. Those aren't really official cards that are part of sets. People can argue about that either way, but sketch cards are usually, official cards from sets. And then there's personal sketch cards, PSCs. People have their own private stock that they print up and they do them with their own exclusive backs, things like that. I did that for a while and I enjoyed it, but it's very hard to do commissions these days.
Yeah.
So, with all that I've got going on, so that's rare and far between. But, trading card and sketch card have just become, generic standard names pretty much.
We art cards, editions, and originals.
There you go.
ACEO thing.
Thank you. We try to keep towards the trading card philosophy where there are variants and people can do trading, because one person can get the Megalodon tooth and one person can get a stamp. One person can get a different sketch card. And these sketch cards are actually part of the set rather than being an insert. So if you trade a sketch card with somebody, you're literally altering your set. You might have you might have one of my sketch cards in one set. You might have, Marco Carrillo's card in another set, or Terry Pavlitz's card in another set, and you're trading back and forth. So we try to adhere to that a little bit, and then we have all the extras, the vintage cards and the stickers and things that go along with it. But yeah, they're just generic terms at this point, which is kind of a shame. But small press publishers can't compete with the larger companies.
Sure. Oh yeah.
There are a lot of large companies, by the way, that are going the gift set route rather than the packs. Packs are obviously more profitable and more lucrative, but when it comes to doing something on the campaigns like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, people have been going more of more for the gift set route, more of the collector card. And, just like everything else, new edition, and it advances the hobby a little bit. And, there's a little evolution involved,
Sure.
So
Rusty, I could keep you on for another 2 hours. We could talk a few hours about wrestling. We could talk a few hours about films.
I got a big mouth. I would be here all night long with you. Trust me.
Maybe you should get a podcast of your own.
Yeah, I could just see that now. The Chicken Wing Podcast.
There you go. So folks who've been watching in the chat here, I want to remind everyone that the link for the dinosaur cards is let me get the right term. The Earth Trembles. That's the title of the set.
Right. We code name everything though. We're like the Oz set. Even though there was such a long name for it was Oz the early years, and I say the Pulp set, but it was actually Sexy Scary Space, and then I say the Dino set, but it's actually the Earth Trembles, whatever. But the title actually came from, I worked on a jigsaw puzzle years ago with a company, and that was the name of my dinosaur art that I did with Dan Gorman, who's one of the artists in the set now. And the card was called The Earth Trembles. And we stuck with it all along. And I said, well, if we're not going to continue doing the puzzles, I would love to do a card set based on that. And that's where this came from. This idea, like I said, is about 2 years in the running.
Well, it's got a lot of great looking stuff in it, and some unique options that I've just never seen before. Those fossil cards are blowing me away.
Well, I appreciate that. We actually, and all of the cards have information on the back. They actually say where the fossils came from. All of the stamps have information on the back. The sketch covers all come with a certificate of authenticity signed, and the sketch cards are signed by the artist on the inside of the card, the bone that's inside the dinosaur mouth. And then what we did was we created a second tier of the sketch cards. One card from each artist is going to be stamped rare. So when somebody gets, like, let's say one of Terry Pablett's cards, well, you can get one of his 20 cards, but only one is stamped rare. So it puts it like in a higher tier than the rest. Again, it promotes the tradability of the cards, even though they're gift or collector cards.
All right. Well, folks in the chat, if you've been watching and you're interested in this card set, the link is in the description below. I encourage you to click on that. You've hit your goal. You hit your goal in 9 days and doubled it. So
yeah, I want it. I'm hoping that it gets bigger because I want more cards to be added to the set. And there's some incredible special stuff coming up that we haven't even advertised. 4th of July. Oh my God, we have huge events planned. So there's a dinosaur holiday coming after it, and there's 4th of July, and there's huge stuff. We're giving away the digitals, we have puzzles, and we have a contest for the fans, all part of the campaign. So,
well, folks, that's a very good reason to hit this little heart button here. If you're planning on backing a little bit later, but you still want to know about this stuff, click this heart button so you get this information sent to your email address. And you won't miss out on the events. You might be enticed to back at that moment rather than waiting any longer.
And I'm sorry I didn't get to answer every person in the chat, but you can look for me on Facebook. I'm always around to talk to people. I enjoy talking to people.
Well, we'll have to have you back on sometime and talk about Mac and Trouble, because we didn't get to dig into the comic book any.
Well, like I said, that film is coming up too, so I would love to do that.
Absolutely. We'll set that up to happen a little bit down the line here. Rusty, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your experiences with us in this project. Everyone in the chat, please do hit the share button on the video. Again, as always, it's not for me. I don't care about the numbers that much. Some, but not that much. But it's always to get our guests out in front of more eyeballs so that more people can see their projects. Hopefully you can hear me, because I know I'm getting a horrible echo, so I'm just going to wrap this up. Say thank you all for coming. We don't have a show without you. And as always, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.